You're able.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will proceed to roll call.
Councilmember Funk?
Here.
Councilmember Newsom?
Here.
Councilmember Peak?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris?
Here.
Mayor Bobo?
Here.
All present.
Okay, thank you. And if you are attending in person, and at the present time, we have almost a full audience, all chairs filled in the chambers, which is somewhat unusual. So we thank you all for coming and welcome. Or if you're listening at home, also welcome to you. We will, and I forgot to mention, by the way, this evening is also a meeting of our Atascadero Industrial Development Authority. And so we will begin today with a presentation of some employee recognitions, and we're going to turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Jim Lewis, at the podium.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. This room is full of wonderful families who love their employees who work for us, and we're honoring several of them tonight for their service. And this is a top place to work. As you know, we have a tremendous culture, and people tend to work here for a really long time because there just isn't a better place to work. And so we're featuring some of our star employees this evening on their many years of work. I'll ask when I talk about you to come on up so the council can see you. And then at the end, if you can kind of mill around, we will have a group picture of you with the council, if we can do that, so you can get a nice picture, and then we'll move along. So our first honoree tonight is Kelly Gleason, your planning manager, 10 years. Miss Gleason, come on up. And this is 10 years with an asterisk. See, I so admired Kelly being here, leaving, and coming back. I kind of thought that was a good plan. So while we're officially celebrating Kelly Gleason's 10-year mark at the city of Atascadero, her career began long before in 2002. Over the years, Kelly has transitioned from associate planner, senior planner to part-time planner, and she's back as our full-time planning manager, helping to guide development projects from inception to ribbon cutting. Kelly oversees complex projects and is our key collaborator, facilitating project advancement among other departments. Key collaborator, that's good. Kelly has a way of building interpersonal relationships with the community and staff, and is skilled at helping people and projects navigate through our development process, which we know is so important. When asked what her favorite project has been to work on so far, she said the objective design standards. That is a very planner response. Not the theater. Okay. Kelly brings together our projects, departments, and staff, and is always hard at work to build culture. She doesn't only plan cities, she plans all sorts of extracurricular activities, from yoga to pickleball to after hours fun. Kelly is the tie that binds. And I think a real example of our culture, and she is one of our stars that actually gets these projects over the finish line and builds our community in a way that we can all be proud of. Thank you, Kelly. Fire engineer Colette Layton. Colette, I know you're here. Come on up. Whenever my family's needed something, Colette's on shift, and I'm always grateful. She began her time with Atascadero as a reserve firefighter in 2012. After gaining necessary EMT and fire academy training, Colette worked as a seasonal firefighter in 2014 and was hired the following year as a full-time firefighter. In 2018, she promoted to fire engineer and became a paramedic. She then became a qualified officer in charge in 2020 after successfully passing the captain's exam and completing additional training. And I've seen her in the field, and she can certainly be in charge and commands respect, which is awesome. Colette serves as a peer support member, a public information officer for our local Type 3 incident management team, an urban search and rescue team member, and on various work groups for our fire department. Her expertise in Excel and statistical reporting have been beneficial in moving the department forward as a data-driven organization. I know Chief Bryson loves when I quiz on the data, but you have given it to him, so that's great. Colette brings enthusiasm, compassion, and diversity to our organization. Outside of the fire service, Colette enjoys spending time with family, outdoor adventures, and indulging in her foodiness at local eateries. Thank you for your service. Terry Banish, the Director of Community Services and Promotions. Bounce on up here, Terry. In 2015, the city of Atascadero set out to raise awareness of all of our community has to offer and to elevate our image and reputation. We also wanted to begin hosting marquee events. It seems so long ago, huh? That would bring people together and create lasting memories. Fortunately, we did not have to look too far. Terry Banish was the perfect person for this job. We are incredibly grateful that Terry chose to leave a successful career in advertising and marketing to join our team. Hired as deputy city manager, she immediately hit the ground running. Terry has played a vital role in putting our city on the map. Through her leadership and vision, our community now enjoys several signature events, including the Tamale Festival, the Fall Festival, and a variety of beer, food, and cider festivals. Her creativity and strong partnerships, particularly with the local lodging industry, have helped make Visit Atascadero a source of pride for us all. In 2023, Terry was promoted to the Director of Community Services and Promotions. In this expanded role, she now oversees not only tourism, events, promotions, and outreach, but is also the Recreation Division and Zoo Supervisor over those managers. She truly is our city's cheerleader and promoter in chief, leading what we affectionately call our fun department. Over the past 10 years, Terry has made a lasting and meaningful impact on the city of Atascadero. Thank you for your passion, your dedication, and energy. Captain Andrew Luera. Yeah. I have to admit, like, this is where I start to feel more mature in my life, because when this guy came, you know, he was like out of high school, and now he is an amazing fire captain, 15 years of service. Thank you, sir. Raised in Santa Barbara, graduate of Atascadero High School, and proud to call the 805 home, Andrew brings a strong background in public service and a deep commitment to the community. Before joining the fire service, Andrew worked at a steam board shop and sports warehouse in San Luis Obispo. Over the years, he has steadily advanced through the ranks of the Atascadero Fire Department. Andrew was hired as a seasonal firefighter in 2006, went full-time in 2010, promoted to engineer in 2014, and to his role as captain in 2017. Andrew holds an AA in general education and dual AS degrees in fire science and paramedicine. His career highlights include serving as duty officer, which means he works in the capacity of a battalion chief, and leading our mental wellness peer support program, which is so important. I'm so proud of the fire and police departments for recognizing this and developing supportive mental wellness. Outside of work, he enjoys playing poker, surfing, and hiking. He's a devoted family person, sharing life with his soon-to-be wife, Courtney, and their 3 kids, Violet, Aria, and Embry. Fun fact, Andrew is an avid Taylor Swift fan and may be spotted singing her hits at the top of his lungs. We'd love to hear that. He's going to pass. Thank you, Andrew, for everything you do for our department and our city. Wow, 15 years. Okay, Rachel Hunter, 20 years, our human resources manager. See, what's funny is Rachel writes most of these. I think all of them with the directors, but I got to write hers, so she doesn't know what I'm saying. 20 years. As human resources manager, Rachel is not only a trusted advisor to me, but also a vital part of our leadership team. She plays a central role in recruitment, hiring, employee wellness, morale, legal compliance, and just as important, brings a kind and compassionate presence to everything she does. Rachel's journey with the city began, it seems, when she was about 10 years old, I think, or it may feel that way, but in truth, she started in March 2005 as an account clerk 1. By 2007, she became a master of both accounts receivable and payable and was promoted to account clerk 2 in recognition of her journey level expertise. Her skills continued to grow, and in 2013, she was promoted to finance technician confidential, where she took over the city's payroll system. Rachel's precision, discretion, and dedication were unmatched. And in 2019, these qualities earned her yet another promotion to personnel specialist in the city manager's office. Her care for people and eye for detail made her a natural fit. In 2022, Rachel was promoted once again, this time to human resources manager, where she now oversees all aspects of our HR function. There has never been a challenge too big or a task too small for her to take on with grace and excellence. The quality of the people we attract, the strong and positive culture we enjoy, and the meaningful training and development opportunities we provide all are a testament to Rachel's hard work and dedication. Her office is right next to mine at City Hall, and I can honestly say I rely on her insights daily. I can't imagine the organization without her, and I truly appreciate her tenure. Thank you, Rachel. You get to talk 20 years. 20 years. All right. And our final recognized employee tonight is the senior employee on the city staff, Commander Bob Molay. "30 years. I think that Chip's TV show was just ending when Bob started here. Bob knew he wanted to be a police officer at an early age and joined us as a police explorer in 1986. He was in high school at the time and attended the department's first meeting, giving him the opportunity to wear Explorer Badge #1. I didn't know that. After attending the police academy in 1992, he was hired as a reserve police officer. He transitioned into a full-time officer when a position became available in 1995. Throughout his career, he has risen through the ranks from police officer, senior police officer, holding the specialty assignment of canine handler. We all remember Lesko. He was a great handler for Lesko. And for over 7 years before promoting to police sergeant. Bob served as a leader in that position for 13 years, having sergeant badge #1 for most of the time. He promoted to lieutenant in 2018 before its title changed to commander in 2020. He was appointed the interim chief of police in 2020 and 2023 and was a steady hand during those times. And I personally was grateful for that, having returned. Bob was recognized in 2004 as APD's Officer of the Year and was awarded the Chief of Police Commendation on 2 separate occasions. Here in 2025, Bob continues to serve as a vital member of our management team and continues to mentor those new to it, and has been very helpful to not so much our new chief, but kind of new chief, Suttles. And I know he's been very helpful to you, and I appreciate your counsel to the chief and your mentorship to our new commander. Bob is married to the love of his life, Rhonda, as they approach their 30th year wedding anniversary together. Well, that's worth clapping right there. Good for you, man. Bob's hobbies are camping at local beaches, lakes, as well as the mountains and desert. He loves getting his Jeep dirty on off-road trails, and probably most of all, working for the city he spent much of his life serving. We can't cite a better example of being all in for Atascadero than Bob Molay over his 30 years of service to us. Please join us in congratulating and thanking him for his legacy. That is a great word to our police department and our city of Atascadero. You want to say anything, Bob? Come on. Would you mind heading up to all of you? Come on up to the council. If you can come around, and we'll get a picture of all of you. And these are our best and incredible employees. So we'll wait for the council to come around and get pictures. And while they're doing that, thank you to our families and friends for supporting these people. I know that working here requires lots of sacrifice, commitment, hours, weekends. We really are grateful to our families for loving our amazing employees.
All right, we are going to move on to our next item, which is a presentation by Central Coast Community Energy, or 3CE. This is our first annual update since we, the city, became enrolled at the beginning of this year. So we are going to turn it over. We have Catherine Stedman, Communications Director, and Rob Shaw, the CEO of 3CE here. And it looks like Catherine's got the podium. Rob, are you just going to watch? Okay. All right, we're going to turn the podium over to Catherine Stedman from 3CE. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Bourbeau and council members. I'm Catherine Stedman, Chief Communications Officer with 3CE. And I'm so excited to give the first of our annual presentations to the city of Atascadero because our agency really is about the communities that we serve. And I'd like to point out that Mayor Bourbeau serves on our policy board of directors, and City Manager Lewis serves on our executive committee and our operations board. So it is your local community leaders that are making decisions about your power, where it comes from, and how we reinvest in our communities. So 3CE is a public agency that sources electricity for communities along the Central Coast. We work in partnership with PG&E, who continues to manage the transmission and delivery of that energy. So while they operate the lines and infrastructure, 3CE purchases electricity from generation projects like solar, wind, and geothermal. This January, the city of Atascadero, along with the county of San Luis Obispo, became the newest member of the agencies that form 3CE. Our enrollment outreach campaign included a print, television, and social media advertising campaign, as well as 4 direct mailers to customers. Additionally, 3CE staff were present in the community, sponsoring events and presenting to over 20 organizations and clubs. We had regularly scheduled coordination meetings with city staff, and I have to give a very special thanks to City Manager Lewis, who appeared in one of our ads that you see here on this slide. Here you can see the results of the enrollment period, and I'm happy to report that as of March, we are meeting our goal of enrolling over 90% of City of Atascadero customers. And I also want to talk today about what we accomplished in 2024 as a sort of preview of what is to come. In 2024, we delivered 409 megawatts of renewable electricity. That's enough to power more than 350,000 homes entirely with clean energy. And by doing so, we avoided over 445,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions, which is equivalent to taking 105,000 gas-powered cars off the road for a full year. 3CE is on a path to deliver 100% clean and renewable energy to our customers 10 to 15 years ahead of the state climate goals. This year, 40% of our power is from clean and renewable sources. And by October of 2028, that is projected to rise to 64% of our electricity load. Battery storage is an essential part of California's carbon-free energy transition, and it is just as important to customer affordability. Batteries store renewable energy when the sun shines and wind blows, then release it when it is needed. At the utility scale, they reduce fossil fuel reliance during peak hours, lowering electricity rates. For customers, home batteries provide backup power and resiliency and provide greater control over energy use. To illustrate this, let's look at California's electricity mix during Labor Day weekend in 2022. You may remember this marked California's last Flex Alert, a statewide call to reduce energy consumption to avoid rolling blackouts. This graph shows our energy mix that day. Red represents fossil fuels, the largest share. Green shows intermittent renewables that spike during daylight and diminish at sunset. And notice the tiny orange line at the bottom. That's batteries charging. The tiny orange line at the top shows battery deployment. Now let's compare this to a recent heat wave. During the July 4th holiday last year, the green renewable bar has grown higher as more renewables have come online. The red fossil fuel bar shrank, showing less reliance on the expensive peaker plants. And most notably, the orange battery bar more than tripled, charging in the morning and deploying during peak evening demand. And I think this is a really helpful visual to show how battery energy storage systems are extending renewable energy's usefulness into the evening hours. At 3CE, we have received questions from community members about the safety of battery energy storage systems. So I'd like to highlight several key facts. First, 3CE has no power purchase agreements with indoor battery facilities like Moss Landing. All battery storage projects that 3CE contracts with must use containerized systems equipped with individual fire suppression units and meet the latest fire and building code requirements. The safety data is also encouraging. Battery system failure rates have dropped 98% since 2018, even as global battery deployment has increased by more than 25,000%. At 3CE, we have made investments in cutting-edge energy storage technology. One example is the Willow Rock Energy Storage Center. This project will use compressed air to power turbines on demand and will be the largest compressed air energy storage project in the world. We also have a number of exciting projects that are coming online soon. Atlas Solar will be one of the largest solar plus storage projects in North America, and Aratina Solar and Storage is projected to come online next year. This past May, Victory Pass began delivering energy to our customers. These 3 projects represent enough energy to power over 250,000 homes. We know that delivering renewable power is only part of the equation. Connecting with our communities is central to our mission. In 2024, our outreach team sponsored events, hosted webinars, and conducted workshops about our energy programs. We've partnered with community-based organizations, trade groups, and chambers of commerce to educate the public about our offerings, and this outreach continues year-round. 3CE's energy programs provide customers with tools that accelerate electrification and put money back into the pockets of community members. Our flagship program, Electrify Your Ride, provides between $1,000 and $4,000 for the purchase of a qualifying new or used electric vehicle. Additional programs cover the cost of electrifying home appliances and installing a home battery, as well as targeted money to support the electric equipment needs of our agricultural sector. We also have programs specifically in place for public agencies to help cover the cost of replacing fleet vehicles, including everything from light-duty pool cars to heavy-duty equipment like street sweepers. Our electric bus program is often used by school districts, and in fact, Atascadero Unified and Templeton Unified are both in our application process right now, and we hope to have good news to share soon. Here is a breakdown of how 3CE has invested in Atascadero through our rebates and incentives. And I will note these stats only cover a quarter of the fiscal year, January through March. During that short period, we have already committed over $30,000 to support the purchase of EVs and new housing through the new construction electrification program. Additionally, we included statistics from Paso Robles. This hopefully will set a mental benchmark for where we hope Atascadero is next year after a full year of membership. Additionally, Atascadero has the opportunity to participate in our member agency fleet electrification program. So before I close, I just want to touch briefly on a timely legislative update. The mega bill known as HR 1, or the Big Beautiful Bill, has eliminated individual tax credits for new and used vehicles after September 30th, 2025, and for home energy upgrades after December 31st. So if you are interested in stacking your 3CE rebates with the federal tax credits, now is the time to act. And we would love all the help we can getting the word out to customers about the time is really of the essence to stack those incentives. Another important part of the legislation is the elimination of tax credits for utility scale solar and wind projects that have not broken ground by the end of 2026. So while these are important developments, 3CE is continuing on our procurement path. We are confident in being able to meet our renewable goals. It's going to require some new strategies, but we're working toward that end. And one of our initiatives is co-sponsoring the Pathways Bill, SB 540, which creates a regional market that will allow us to sell the overproduction of solar in the middle of the day to other states, and then also be able to draw from renewable sources from other states that will be of an advantage to the times of day when renewable energy is not as accessible. So that is all that I have for you today, but if you or any members of the public have questions, I have my contact information and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll leave your contact information up there for a bit so anybody can see that and make note of it. I want to see if any members of the council have any questions for Ms. Stedman regarding the 3CE presentation. Councilmember Funk?
Yes, thank you very much. Wanted to follow up during the transition process. One of the things that we heard from were folks who had solar systems, and depending on whether you leased or owned your system and whether it and which and when it is that you got into the thing governing which deal you were on, which NEM, the financial considerations of the cash flow varied. So a lot of people, like we did, got hit with an extra true up right after the winter solstice when solar power is lowest and electricity costs are highest. And I was just wondering the extent to which you were able to get a pathway for some of those customers and how that affected participation of solar owners in the 3CE.
Yes, thank you for asking that question. And I think that we've done a really good job of being able to work individually with our customers that have rooftop solar to really understand our NEM program, our annual true up, and work with them individually to figure out what is best for them. But when we had our celebration here at the end of enrollment in February, we had a lot of questions and we had staff on hand. And I would just say if there's any 3CE customers now in Atascadero that still have questions about the NEM program, give me a call. Any of our staff can work with you to really understand how our true-up process works, but it's essentially a mirror of the PG&E true-up process. We just have a different date, but it comes out so that a customer is not impacted by that over after a year of service, it would be the same.
Yes, as I recall, it was sort of like buying the giant thing of laundry detergent at Costco.
That's
you pay a bunch of
right.
money up front and then eventually it costs you less.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on my left? Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation and your guys' willingness. I know there were some, dissatisfied customers, especially in the solar end, but everyone I talked to who got in contact with the 3CE rep, ended up understanding the explanation. So thank you for working with that. But I think it was unfortunate because we did end up with a lower enrollment figure than a lot of other cities, or a higher opt-out figure, if you will. So in many cases, it was just simply the timing of a true up and people having to pay more upfront, which, for a lot of people is not good. And so it works out in the long run, but I think it did have a negative impact on us, on our enrollment rate. So, but we're here moving forward, and I think there's still savings to be had. And so thank you for the presentation. We appreciate you guys coming, and if not sooner, we'll see you again next year.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, we will move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar consists of items that are considered routine and non-controversial by city staff and will be acted upon by a single action of the council unless otherwise requested by a member of the council for separate consideration. We will take public comment on consent calendar items prior to action. And this is items E1 through E6. I'll first see if any member of the council wishes to ask a question of staff or pull an item for separate consideration. Okay, seeing none, I will open up the consent calendar to public comment. So anybody wishing to comment on items, any item or items E1 through E6? Okay, seeing no one approach, I will bring it back to the council and ask for a motion.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar. With thanks to staff for getting us money from non-city sources for the Santa Lucia Road pavement work.
Yes, thank you. That's exciting to see that project go out to contract. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk and a second by Councilmember Peak. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris,
Yes.
Mayor Robo.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. With that, we will, hold on, okay. Sec here. We will move on to updates from the city manager. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people here tonight really appreciate your involvement and feedback, but we do have one more thing before we get to community forum, and that is updates from our city manager, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. I do have a few things, but these are really interesting things. I hope you learn a lot about what's happening in Atascadero in the next month. Regarding our El Camino Real Safety and Parking Enhancement Project, we are in just about at substantial completion. So this is the final phase of improvements. And over the next week, the final phase of landscaping will continue in the median on El Camino between Traffic Way and Rosario. The existing street trees that are in a state of decline will be replaced with new trees that will provide a number of benefits to downtown businesses and residents. And once the new trees are planted, crews will install flexi-paved material around the tree wells to ensure proper tree growth and improving walkability. And so that's some of the holes in the sidewalk area north of Traffic Way. The Traffic Way crosswalks turned out amazing, really spruces up the entrance to downtown. As a reminder, all business driveways will remain open and any no parking areas will be marked. But we're about there, so it's been great. Regarding pavement, people love their neighborhood being paved. In the first phase, so you just approved a non-F14 L24 project on the consent calendar for Santa Lucia Road, which is significant, paving Santa Lucia from Portola out towards Senegal. But this is our neighborhood paving project, and it has started. So this will be rehabilitating Los Osos Road, San Andres Avenue, and San Dimas Road. It began on June 27th. This is a 1.6 centerline road miles. You can see on the map there. Potholing and culvert replacements nearing completion on Los Osos Road and San Dimas Road. The milling of Los Osos Road and San Dimas Road began yesterday, and new pavement is expected to be installed by August 8th. Work on San Andreas Avenue will begin shortly afterwards and will take 2 weeks. The completion of this project will be early September. Since F14 was originally passed in 2014 and renewed as L24 in 2024, $21.4 million approved by voters has been invested in our neighborhood roads. And we have resulted in over 50 plus centerline miles being paved, which is now almost 40% of city roads. So this was really an amazing tax program that our citizens authorized, and we're seeing the benefit. Regarding fire and emergency services, I think fire is on everyone's mind. And again, I thank our fire department for their tremendous work recently on fires, especially in the Llano neighborhood. At our next council meeting, we will receive an after action report. I'm so proud of our fire and police departments for their response. I think it's important for the community to hear how we responded, what went well, and lessons we always learn. And we'll be sharing that at the next council meeting. But for now, so much work is being done in fuels management. And as we saw in that fire, this makes a huge difference when neighbors do this, and the city has been very aggressive. And so on July 17th, our vegetation management project began in Stadium Park as part of a large fuel reduction effort along Pine Mountain. And I think some of our neighbors here would be very interested in that. This project is in partnership between Atascadero Fire and Emergency Services and the San Luis Obispo Fire Safe Council and the Atascadero Land Preservation Society. We received nearly $1 million in grants for this work, which is incredible. Work includes tree limbing and the removal of hazardous brush along Stadium Park Road leading into the bowl. 98 acres has been cleared across all project sites. That is really significant. So again, I'm just so appreciative to the fire department for the work they're doing here. These treatments will reduce wildfire risk and strengthen our fire resilience. Next slide. Today, we said goodbye to one of our original deodar cedars, and so removal started today. I think the tree is gone. We waited as long as possible till it was brown and in complete decline and a risk to our community. But it was over nearly 100 years old. We did remove it today. This tree is so special, and I think we want to make sure the community has a chance to remember it and honor it. And so the cedar wood is being transported to a local mill and furniture company, Deadwood Revival Design. It's in Paso Robles, and will be available for our residents to purchase that wood. We want to make sure that that tree lives in people's homes and places of business for a long time. If you are interested in purchasing some of the cedar wood from this tree, you can contact Deadwood Revival Design at 805-552-5897. That's 552-5897, or visit www.deadwoodrevivaldesign.com. Moving on, our fair is rolling. We're excited to be a partner of the fair, and we were part of the Wine Industry Awards and the Crafty Awards and Mixology event. Our visit to Atascadero glasses, you can see there with our new Central Coast Zoo logo, were prominently featured, and we appreciated contributing to the fair. This month is Park and Recreation Month, which makes sense. This is the 40th anniversary of Parks and Recreation Month, and each July we celebrate our park and recreation professionals and how they improve our community and make a lasting impact across the country. And there's some of our professionals being very professional in the bottom right corner. You know, this really enhances our quality of life. They're essential to community health, mental health, well-being, and so many lifelong friendships are created through our recreation programs. And our family bonds. So this year's theme, Build Together, Play Together, is what we're doing here locally, from our beautiful parks that our great public works team takes care of, to our community services team and that manage all of our youth and adult sports and activities. I thank them, and I know the council is very grateful. Also this summer, thank you for your leadership council and prioritizing a swim program. Our aquatics program is back with an opportunity for swim classes and open swim. It's going, it's been great. And then we have another season of kickball, youth pickleball, and adult basketball. So many things to do. Thank you to community services for enhancing life in our community. Speaking of that, fall season team registrations are now open. So you can see the information there. We have youth pickleball, adult basketball, and adult social kickball, which is more social than ball, I think, if you've ever seen it. But you can see there are the fees and the dates, and I won't read through all that because we're going long. We did talk about the aquatics program. The schedule is still going, and it's noon to 1:30 p.m. for lap swim and open swim. Lap swim is Monday through Friday, 12 to 1:30. Rec swim, Monday through Friday from 2 to 3:40. And then rates for drop-in, lap, and rec swim are $5 or $45 for 10 swims. And passes can be purchased. Many people are learning to swim, young people, at a very reasonable price. So this is just a tremendous service. A number of our employees have children learning to swim. And so I think the council was interested in that, and you can see that occurring. Concert series. So Saturday, 26th, we return to our concert series at the Lake Park Bandstand. We have the Platinum Beat as our next band, ultimate feel-good music, top shelf, top 40, Motown, energy, pop, rock, etc. We'll have shave ice and food and beer from Wild Fields. And then on August 2nd, we have Ghost Monster. Next, the National Night Out, if you haven't found enough to do in Atascadero that you appreciate, is on August 5th. This is always a big night for us from 5 to 7 at the Sutton Gardens. Our police department is very involved in this, and this is meant to enhance relationship between neighbors and law enforcement. And we'll have a lot of public safety partners, food, music. It's a great evening. The 15th and 16th of August is cruising weekend. I do want to share that registration is open and moving quick. We're moving to 200 cars already. It is capped at 350. So we are a month out and passes are moving. So if you do want to cruise, please get your pass soon. You need to go to the Colony Park Community Center in person, but they are limited. So do get yourself registered. Go to the community center during the day and pick up your pass. On September 6th, we have Brew at the Zoo, the 12th annual Brew at the Zoo from 5 to 8. These tickets are also for sale and may sell out. This event continues to grow. Visit atascadero.com/events. So there you go. Lots going on. If you have questions, I can answer any of them, or you can always look at our website. Visit atascadero.com or atascadero.org. Thank you, Mayor and
All
Council.
right, thank you, Mr. Lewis. I also want to add thanks to the Parks and Rec Department, which I think that the Fun Department or Department of Fun would actually might be a good name for them. And I noted on the slide, it says Parks and Rec makes life better. And that's really so true. I mean, Parks and Rec just provides all kinds of outlets for citizens in our community, really does improve quality of life. And so we appreciate that. And Ms. Banish, I hope you pass that on to all of the employees of the parts of the Fun Department, that we really do appreciate their efforts, and I think the community does as well. With that, I would like to see if any members of the council have any questions for the city manager.
Yes, one quick one. Manager Lewis, you mentioned that at the next council meeting that staff is going to bring forward an after-action report on the Llano fire. Will that be brought forward as an agendized item in such a way that members of the public can comment on their experience so that we can learn from all perspectives on it?
Yes, it will. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Any questions on? Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. With that, we will move on to community forum. Community forum is reserved for persons who wish to address the city council on any matter not on the agenda, but over which the council has jurisdiction. The Brown Act does prohibit the council from discussing matters not on the agenda, so we can't enter into a detailed dialogue in depth. The council at its discretion can ask staff to contact a speaker, or we may ask very brief questions of the staff. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and we would ask each speaker to please state their name for the record. So if you wish to speak in community forum, please approach the podium now. Please don't wait until the last or the next speaker. That way we don't spend time waiting for people to arrive at the podium. So, and community forum is limited to 30 minutes unless the council elects to extend it or reopen it after other agenda items. So welcome to our first speaker. Corey, can you pull the mic down a little bit?
There we go. Okay,
Thanks.
thanks.
We'll turn it
Corey
on.
Meyer, I live on the south side of Pine Mountain at 7345 Canal Avenue. Good evening, Mayor and Council and staff. I want to tell you, Casey, really appreciate the fire department's proactive vegetation and fire fuel reduction program. It's just phenomenal what you guys have done. It's all around town, and I went through Stadium Park the other day, and I was back by the cemetery, and just really appreciate all the work you guys have done up there. And that kind of leads me in to why I'm here tonight about fire threat, to get a conversation started. On the 4th of July, in our neighborhood, we had quite a display of professional grade aerial fireworks. They were coming from a backyard of a neighbor on Pinal Avenue, and many neighbors were upset about the irresponsibility and genuinely worried about the fire hazard in our neighborhood. The police were called and promptly came out, only to tell us that they needed an eyewitness to the lighting of the fireworks to do anything about the situation, but a verbal warning. And the problem with that was that the fireworks had stopped at that point, and the fireworks were coming from these people's backyard. But it was obviously where they were coming from, I'll tell you that. They did talk to the homeowner and conducted a police report following up by interviewing some of the neighbors. This is when some of us realized that there's a real need to improve our existing code. And so we did appreciate the cooperation of the police department very much. But Luke, could you please run the video and you'll get an idea of what we put up with that night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. And yes, the council has seen this, but I think for other members of the public, it would be good if you can run that, Mr. Knight. So it was sent to council members individually, so we had an opportunity to preview some of these. Okay, I think, it's certainly enough to illustrate the point. So as you would say, professionally grade, but not professionally launched. So please, next speaker.
Excellent way of putting it. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. Everyone with me today, would you mind standing to get a number? Thank you
And
so much.
Thank you for mentioning that, because we appreciate that. It's not necessary for each person to speak and repeat, but it is important for us to get an idea of how many people are here regarding a particular concern. So thank you all for standing. That was a great suggestion.
Yes, and for sake of time, I just want to let you know it's just a couple of us speaking, but we did want to show support. We have come together on this issue and we've organized, and we just kind of want to share our grievances and then also propose some solutions to help keep our community safe. As most of you are already well aware of the issue, July 4th, it was unseasonably dry and windy, presented quite the fire hazard. These mortar grade fireworks were launching from a party that was being hosted in the neighborhood. So it shook our home so hard that it set off alarms. The concussions of the blast set off some alarms in the neighborhood. So it was quite disruptive. It created an extreme fire hazard. And it's kind of a miracle that no one was injured or lost their home. Law enforcement did respond quickly and they handled the situation professionally, but that's pretty much where it ended. No citation was issued, no consequences followed. The police did what they could given the current municipal code, and their hands are kind of tied to go any further, which is what we learned. So frustrated by that outcome from the previous night, the next morning as neighbors, we took action. Personally, I submitted a crime report through the public safety portal, providing the offending address, just as a hope that it would go on record. And another neighbor used her connections within the city to contact the watch commander. This led to 2 police sergeants meeting with a group of 20 or so neighbors to explain the response and the limitations of our current law. Here's what we learned. The fireworks ordinance is 1 sentence long. And it's probably the most lax in the county right now because many other cities have updated their codes and fines accordingly. For the sake of time, you can reference it yourself, but it's chapter 2, section 5-2.01. And while it states that all fireworks are illegal, it offers no practical enforcement power. Officers must witness the act in order to directly issue a citation, or so was explained to us by the officers. And even then, the fine is just $100, which is not specifically stated in the ordinance, but when we contacted city staff, that's what we were told. We believe in order for an ordinance to be effective, it must be updated in order to include the following: a significantly higher fine, escalating penalties for repeat offenders and problem properties, better enforcement tools, including remote citation options, accountability for homeowners, regardless of who lights the fireworks, and spreading awareness. I think the last social media post we could find when digging around on Facebook for police and fire was back in 2023. So I think more community awareness is warranted too. We're asking for city staff to review the ordinance, look at possible updates and ways to make enforcement a little bit more meaningful. Take a look around. We had Templeton Feed, the Llano Fire, the Madre Fire. Our fire season is year-round. And coming from somebody who moved from Altadena, I take this very seriously. We shouldn't have to wait for loss of property to act. I think we can all do a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Stefan. I'm also a resident here in Atascadero. I'd like to provide some context for possible solutions based on looking at other jurisdictions here in our county for our city to investigate and come back with future recommendations on this matter. In June, the SLO County Board of Supervisors enacted a stricter fireworks ordinance that expanded enforcement measures and increased penalties for fireworks across all unincorporated areas of the county. All fireworks are illegal in the county areas, including safe and sane. Fines at the county level are $1,000 for each safe and sane violation, and the fines start at $2,000 each for possession or use of dangerous fireworks, which is anything that is not safe and sane. This level of detail is missing from our current city municipal code and prevents Atascadero officers from effectively policing fireworks within our city limits. 2 months ago, Grover Beach also passed a new ordinance that enables their city to remotely identify fireworks and issue citations to property owners by mail as an administrative action on a basis of a code violation. Their fines are $1,000 per firework with no cap. Launching 10 fireworks results in $10,000 worth of fines. According to a Grover Beach staff report, the fiscal impact of implementing this was offset by the fine, what was expected to be offset by the fines collected. And after the holiday, it was reported in local news that Grover Beach did increase the number of citations this year with the new ordinance in place. As quoted in an interview with KSBY, Grover Beach Police Commander Brian Millard said prior to this ordinance being passed, an officer would have to identify the exact person for lighting the firework off. With the combination of new drone technology and the new ordinance, all we have to do is associate the illegal fireworks to a residence, and this gives our tools and officers a tool for investigation. On another note, Morro Bay, Grover Beach, Paso, and SLO County Sheriff's Office all have drone programs for law enforcement. Atascadero could greatly benefit from a drone program for both holiday fireworks and also search and rescue or other police activities. The framework already exists in these other jurisdictions for our city to collaborate with. The upfront cost of a drone could be relatively affordable compared to other law enforcement apparatus. Once the drone is purchased, a local operator could be contracted by the city on an as-needed basis around holidays or other major events. This low-cost approach also frees up emergency responders during critical times when resources are spread thin and calls for service often go unanswered, so it could be argued it would be paying for itself. In today's world where fire risk is a daily reality, anything less than an effective fireworks enforcement policy is a liability on our city. On behalf of my neighbors and fellow residents of Atascadero, we ask the city to investigate this matter and provide recommendations to our fireworks ordinance and enforcement methods. I also brought hard copies of my references. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would want to pass those to the chief of police there, he could pass them on down so we receive them up here at the council.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to beat the time.
Well,
Thank
you did.
guys very much.
You all did an excellent job of staying within 3 minutes. In fact, I want to compliment the entire neighborhood. This is about the best textbook example I've seen of public involvement of coming to community forum. Well prepared. You just didn't leap to conclusions. You know, you found out what the limitations were. You found out the facts of what happened. You spoke to the police. I really can't think of a better example of positive community engagement on something. And I really appreciate also that you all didn't feel the necessity of getting up and saying the same thing over and over, because that happens sometimes. And yet, you know, you showed by your presence and your numbers and standing that so that we get an idea of how important this is to you as a neighborhood. I would say, and we, as I mentioned, the Brown Act precludes us from entering into a detailed discussion on an item not on the agenda. But I can certainly assure you, without even discussing with my colleagues, that the council takes this very seriously, especially in light of the fire, the Yano fire, and what happened in Templeton on July 4th. And I would say, having lived here, or moved here in 1985, I heard, just from my vantage point in my home, more fireworks this year than I've ever heard in all of the years I've been here. So this is not just an obvious problem to you, but I think a growing problem. And it needs to be dealt with. This is a potential disaster waiting to happen, and it's good we're having this discussion for you as a outraged neighborhood and not somebody who suffered a severe loss. In fact, I'm wondering how the hell perhaps fire chief can educate us as to how you can shoot off that many fires and not start at least some small fire in weeds, et cetera. We'll see some really good weed abatement going on in your neighborhood, which we also appreciate. And I think we all understand the frustration that even if there was a video, it would be difficult to do a citation. And even if there was a citation, it would only be our standard municipal ordinance violation of $100. So I'm going to ask a brief question of the chief, although chief, they seem to have done some really good research. I don't know what you can add to it, but I was going to ask you to address how we do or don't enforce our ordinance, our existing fireworks ordinance because of the limitations we have. And then I'm going to ask the council for consensus on discussing this. But if you have anything you would like to add, either police chief, will start with you, or fire chief.
Well, thank you, Mayor. The residents, you did a great job of your research. I think that you've outlined a lot of the frustrations that I would try to outline, and that is that there are some laws that are on the books, not only our ordinance, but there are some actual laws from the health and safety code that cover some of the other ordinances that you mentioned that other cities have, such as the $2,000 fine for possession. That's currently under an existing law under the health and safety code. However, we do have limitations when it comes to the existing ordinance that we have. Again, I think you did a really good job of outlining what those limitations are. Officers, it's not just in this specific law, but in all misdemeanors. A police officer cannot make an arrest on a misdemeanor that they do not witness. Now, you can have a citizen's arrest, but we still have the burden of evidence. So even if we can say with reasonable certainty that the firework came from a specific location, we still are going to be left a little frustrated because we can't say with certainty who did it. And that is the limitation of the law that we all have to, and I say we, I'm talking about law enforcement officers, that we find ourselves working in that parameter. So it's frustrating for us as well. Again, you did an excellent job in your research in regards to some of the solutions out there. Some of these ordinances, are called social host ordinances. And essentially, if we had the exact same incident happen under one of those ordinances, we would have cited somebody that night. So I think that does go a long way. And I appreciate and I hear what was said in regards to the social media post and the fact that there hasn't been one since 2023. That's absolutely duly noted, and that will change. But other than that, I don't have much to add. I think that the residents did an excellent job in doing that for me.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Casey, as a fire chief, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you to the neighborhood for coming out. You guys were very clear, very direct, and we appreciate that. I live just down the hill from you. I heard some of that as well. And as the mayor said, it has been an increasing problem over the last several years. It seems to be getting worse. And we put a lot of work into, you saw pictures of our fuels management program, our consultations, our chipping program. You put a lot of work into your weed abatement around your house, and I support the plan. This is one more tool. I support increasing fines, looking into working with the police chief here on social host ordinance. And I think it's one more tool in our toolbox to prohibit the next big incident. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to ask the rest of council if we have a consensus to direct staff to bring back an item for discussion and potential action. And as a part of that, to look at other cities' ordinances and processes, look at revising our penalties and our procedures for detection, including possible use of drones and public education for what neighbors can do, up to and including how to exercise a citizen's arrest if necessary. But basically ask staff to come back with a discussion about revising our ordinances to increase penalties and changing our enforcement mechanisms. So, Mr. Lewis, I assume that's something we could do, and if I have consensus amongst the council to do such a thing? Okay.
I think we can certainly come back with meaningful reform before the next 4th of July.
Right. Well, and because of that, I would hope that maybe we do this by winter time. Let's,
Right.
so that these things are in place.
We'll get this on a fall
Yeah,
agenda. Mayor.
including the education, because I have noted that, I would see on KSBY these stories in Grover Beach about, hey, new enhanced penalties, this, that, and the other thing. And I didn't really see much of that here. And we've definitely, because this has been growing year to year, we definitely need to get the word out. So,
Yeah.
okay.
And can we encourage it coming back before New Year's?
Yeah, I said we'll have this on a fall agenda, so October, November for sure, before the
Okay,
holiday
good.
season.
Very good. Okay, thank you. And thank you all in the audience. Thank you, this neighborhood in particular. You guys did an outstanding job of, looking into the issue, addressing the issue, coming and speaking your mind, showing your presence. And kind of, this is a textbook example of how we would love to see public comment and input, and your frustration is having a result. We're going to change policy and you'll be back. I think we'll make a special effort to ensure your neighborhood in particular is aware when this item comes back for council consideration. So thank you again. Okay, we will move on now to public hearings. First one is item H1, a public hearing regarding Community Facilities District annexation of the Dove Creek mixed-use project. I'm sure this is going to be somebody in community development. I believe Mr. Phil Dunsmore, our director, will present this item.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. I'm really happy to present to you tonight that finally the vacant property at the corner of El Camino Real and Santa Barbara Road, known as Dove Creek, is finally moving forward with a development project. This development project was approved last year. It's an exciting project. It's a mixed-use project, comes along with residential and commercial. But that's not the focus of tonight. Focus of tonight is the CFD, the Community Facilities District annexation. And that, again, pertains only to the residential portion of the project. I'm going to show you a couple aspects of the project. If I can go through a couple of slides real quick, if I can find a changer. It's not working, but let me try the real one. Hang in there for, oh, here we go. Look at that. Beautiful. All right. So it was way back in 2004 that all of Dove Creek, which is the residential portion, and this 5-acre lot was approved. And ultimately, there was this later amendment that included this retail store. It was actually a hardware store. That never happened on this property. And then finally, the mixed-use project in 2019 was approved. That never happened. But later on, more recently, in the current project that got approved is a larger mixed-use project. It's going to come along with 71 residential units. There's a hotel and just about 15,000 square feet of commercial tenant space. And here's a look at the project that's actually going to happen. I kind of want to highlight this because it's such an exciting economic development opportunity for a corner that's been long awaiting that. Now, one of the conditions of this project moving forward is that Community Facilities District. I have our planner here tonight, Eric Gomez. He's going to tell you about the details of that. And our city clerk's even going to get involved a little bit here with the process. But here's Eric.
Perfect. Yeah, a lot of interdepartmental fun today. Yeah, so CFD's Communities Facilities District was established back in 2005 at the direction of council. And essentially, it is a district that allows us to recoup the cost of public services for discretionary residential projects. So that includes any projects that are completely residential or any mixed-use projects that have a residential component and get discretionary approval. Generally, that's approval from the Planning Commission or the City Council to proceed through construction. And the whole goal for these projects is to make the residential components fiscally neutral through annexation into a special tax district that covers the cost of public services. So there's a whole process that's laid out by state law, and we've worked diligently internally, through planning and the applicant to go through that process. The first step having occurred back in June, on June 10th, you all did approve an intent to annex, which basically sets the stage for this process to move forward and for us to begin noticing neighbors and working with the applicant to establish the voting procedure to annex a property into the Communities Facilities District. Shortly after that meeting, the boundary of the property was submitted to the county recorders to formalize the actual limits of the property to be annexed. So as far as the process goes tonight, You all have already opened a public hearing at the end of this presentation, and after any questions that you might have, you'll close that public hearing and consider that first resolution that was attached to your staff report. And it's essentially establishing the annexation of the territory that Dove Creek is approved on into the Community Facilities District. Once the hearing is closed, we'll work with our city clerk to hold the election based on a ballot that was submitted by the applicant. Once those ballots is counted, the city clerk will announce the results of that vote, and the city council or you all will certify the election. And following that, we'll adopt or introduce your first reading, I should say, ordinance A that's attached to your staff report. And that basically authorizes the special taxes for the annexation of the Dove Creek property into the Community Facilities District. Shortly after that, within the next month or so, we will be returning for a second reading of that ordinance to finalize the process. So I've kind of laid those steps out here in this recommendation slide. So our recommendation being that you adopt draft resolution A, direct the city clerk to conduct the landowner vote on the annexation. You'll recess while those votes are counted by our city clerk, and then we'll follow that up. All those votes are counted by our city clerk, and then we'll drop the draft resolution and introduce by first reading only our draft ordinance, again, all attached to your staff report. With that being said, I'll open it to any discussions and questions.
All right, thank you. I'll start on my right. Councilmember Newsom, any questions? Councilmember Funk? Okay. Questions? I actually have a question. You did mention in here that the CFD only applies to residential. So the boundary of this includes the entire commercial parcel. So the CFD, the additional property tax, if you will, is only being levied on the residential parcels or units within that, correct?
That is correct. Residential units in this case.
Okay.
Yes.
Residential units, got it. Okay, all right, thank you. And with that, we will now open, see if there's any public comment on this item. Seeing no one approaching the podium, we will return it back. And I believe we are set to, well, first we need to do a motion regarding draft resolution A.
Yeah, so I'll move that we adopt draft resolution A and direct the city clerk to conduct a landowner vote as recommended by staff.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk, second by Councilmember Newsom. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris,
Yes.
Mayor Borbo.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, at this point, we would technically take a recess. It's a little early for us to take a bathroom break. And seeing as I think staff was kind of alluding to with a chuckle, there's really only one ballot to be counted here. So I don't know that we really need to step away from the podium. We'll just let the city clerk let us know when she is ready to tell us the results.
The vote was in the affirmative, one landowner, 6 votes, all votes were yes.
Got it. Okay, all right, thank you. Then with that, we are ready to move on to motion regarding draft resolution B and introducing the draft ordinance.
I would move that we adopt draft resolution B as provided by staff and introduce for first reading by title only the draft ordinance authorizing the levy of special taxes in Community Facilities District 2005-1 as recommended by staff.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Funk, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Daris. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Funk,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Councilmember Peak,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris,
Yes.
Mayor Borbo.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. With that, we are at the end of our regular agenda items, and so we will move on to council announcements and committee reports. I will begin on my left with Councilmember Peak.
Slow committee month since we last met. We have a DRC meeting scheduled for August.
Mayor Pro Tem Daris.
Okay, as you may recall, I've been seated on a jury that started around June 12th, Happy to report that we started deliberations today. Both sides have rested. Hoping to finish up by the end of the week to get back to my regular life. And with that being said, I haven't been able to make any meetings, so I have nothing to report.
Well, thank you for your jury service. I know a 5-week trial is no fun. My wife was on a 6-week one once, and it was, yeah, a bit not helpful with your work life, that's for sure. Okay, Councilmember Funk.
Yes, the Homeless Services Oversight Council met last week. A lot of concern about the budget impact of changes of the feds. The changes at least so far in the House of Representatives on the HUD programs that let us get people housed look to be less drastic than were originally proposed. So that's encouraging. And a lot of thoughtful care around the group about how to keep our programs absolutely as efficient and effective as possible. I would also add, let's see, Design Review Committee, Councilmember Peak and I will be participating in a design review committee that is on Thursday, August 7th. And we're actually meeting I got that right? Okay, good. And then I was honored to represent Atascadero twice at the Mid-State Fair this past week. First on Friday at a forum by the building trades where they had an apprenticeship panel and talked about the great opportunities for people, both high school, students coming out of high school and also who may have started some other career to build a great career in the building trades and help us build this community. And then I also represented Atascadero at the Get Crafty and Mixology event, which was a lot of fun. And the lovely glasses, with our logo and zoo logo on them looked excellent. So they looked very nice with all those cocktails in them, and I was very modest in what I consumed of them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Newsom.
I have nothing to report.
Got it. And I as well not had any committee meetings. The mayor's meeting this month was canceled, which we knew ahead of time. And so I attended no meetings in this last period. So last 4-week period. So I have nothing to report. And with that, we will see, do any members of the council have any individual determinations or actions they'd like to comment on? Nope, nope. All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned, 7:10.